Well, friends, the one strong pointer we've been given concerns ego. Now, one can approach the matter in more than one way. And the wholly approvable way, from any point of view, is for you to receive a succinct, penetrating statement of what the Eastern metaphysic tells us about the journey of man through egocentricity and beyond egocentricity. I don't want to do that. Not tonight. I would rather this week that you and I attempt it through our meditational growth, because we have some meditational growth. We have that ingredient, that potential within ourselves. Through our meditational growth, not to repeat the formulae to be found in anyone's books or present in any tradition, but to try and explore a little together the implications, the inklings, the affirmations that come to us when we are aware that we do not know and are attempting to discover. To discover what? Not per se something which is conveniently available to us in some text, but to discover a perception, or perhaps more correctly, for a perception to discover us. One of the difficulties about yoga, in more ways than one, is that it stands us on our heads. For the perception to discover us. For us to be available when the perception is reaching out towards our surface consciousness. For our surface mind to be sensitive, open, capable of glimpsing what a deeper level is striving to bring through to us. This will not so much come through books as through a deeply felt awareness, a movement which is an awakening. It's not something we can will into being, and yet perhaps it is something which is already existing within us, already immanent within us. And the need of our conscious mind is simply to connect with a movement which is the perception, which is the knowing, which is the seeing, which is already accessible to us, is already there. is already real, is more real than the aberration of our normality. Hence the need to stand the thing on its head. And so, I would suggest that perhaps this evening we can move together from a state of not knowing, not from a state of quoting and comparing what is to be found in different books, but from a state of not knowing into an exploration in which there may be a discovery. The true knowing is discovering, is not the imposition of information which is a pattern. A true knowing is a movement of energy with which the conscious mind connects because it opens. And it opens because it is eager to open. It does not fear to open. The question is egocentricity. There is, I believe, a fundamental difficulty. The Eastern metaphysic lays much stress on eliminating ego. Our own Western tradition speaks of individuation, in the words of Jung, individuation as being the healthy condition for Western man, for modern man, for now. I wonder really what it all adds up to. Do we individuate? Or do we eliminate? And what lies behind the notions of needing to strengthen the self, of needing to eliminate the self? What is the function of ego? What is the function of man? What is man? What is the earth of which man is part? What is the solar system of which the earth is part? What is this great wheel of life? What is our relationship to the life process? What is our responsibility to the life process? What is the life process? Mankind has always felt that the living earth of which we are part is our mother. Mankind has always felt, perhaps less strongly now, that the great light, the sun, is responsible for the generation of all things. Mankind has always felt this. It has arisen in so many traditions. It is an inner feeling. It is a perception. It is an inner knowledge. It is a knowledge accessible to us. Because surely this thread of energy, this flow of perception, known to all men at all times in some form, is knowable also by us, is discernible also by us. There is a Red Indian tradition of North America that the great Mother Earth brings forth abundance because the glorious Father, the Son, beams his power upon the earth and into the earth. And the fruit of their union, the fact of the cosmic love, is the proliferation of all living things. It is a cosmic polarity, a cosmic development, a cosmic fact of which we are all part. And in us exists the earth, and in us exists the sun, and in us exists the confluence of energies. That is the unity and the power of the earth with the sun. The sun is in us and the earth is in us. And surely by the earth we mean more than the physical level that is the body of earth. And by the sun we mean more than the physical reality that is the body of the sun. Just as by man himself we mean more than the physical reality that is the body of man. Man is the microcosm within the macrocosm. All elements of the cosmos exist within ourselves. All reality is present here. All truth is realized fundamentally here. O man, know thyself. And in reflecting, and more than reflecting, in discovering concerning this question of ego, we surely need to reflect and to discover through and beyond this one fact of ego. And while it is easy to discern and perceive man in his finite reality, there is some capacity within us, and has always been in mankind, to discern something of the infinite aspect of man. The cosmic fact, the cosmic flow. Because the cosmic flow is in us, and we in it. To know the truth of ourselves is to see vastly beyond ourselves. And one of the first things that surely emerges is that the interaction of the ebb and the flow of the cosmic life is a tremendous surge of amazing love. And to see beyond ourselves is to see a little beyond the limits of our own love or lack of love. And I strongly suspect that this question of ego only ever arises in our minds because we sense that there is a dimension of love that we know not of, and we would need to find out about it if we can. So we wonder what the blockage is, and we come up with ego. There is a level which knows we have such a capacity for perception, for harmony, for unity, for ecstatic fusion. And in trying to discover why this is not part of our experience, we invent a concept, we invent an ego. And indeed there is an ego, obviously. But what is it that arises from the confluence between the earth and the sun, deeply and inwardly, as well as visibly? The earth yearns for fruitfulness, and the sun responds with its light. And there is fusion, and there is generation, and the abundance of forms and of new forms, and the evolutionary impetus arises from this fundamental, ecstatic, cosmic fact. And we arise from this ecstatic, cosmic fact. And it is the true substance of our being, the unfolding of that fact. We are of the nature of the earth and the sun. We are part of the earth physically. In terms of energy, we are part of the energy of the earth. In terms of consciousness, we are part of the consciousness of the earth. In terms of spirit, we are part of the spirit of the earth. We are part of the whole. And that part, the earth, is part of the cosmos. And the sun has its physical level of manifestation and its deep intelligence, and its power and its spirit. So, the interaction, the flow of the earth and the sun, the cosmic Ida Pingala, the negative and positive energy transference from earth to spirit, from spirit to earth. The ascending flow, the descending flow. The evolutionary power, the incarnating power. The arising light, the descending light. And the whole ebb and flow of the cosmos is the expression of this fundamental reciprocation of power. And in the channel of being, from the earth to the sun, there arises perhaps first what we may call the earth elemental, which has its own intelligence and is the substratum of ourselves. And in the descending flow from sun to earth, there is the beginnings of the perfect form of man, which is the perfect form of ourselves. And as experience accumulates, because of the interaction of spirit and matter, of the sun and the earth, if we objectify it as we're doing now, there is accumulation. And at a midpoint between the development of the elemental man, who is of the earth, and the development of the sun being, who is of the sun. At a midpoint, there is the individuality, the surface of which is our little ego. And our little ego is played upon by the impulse of the ascending light, the impulse of the descending light. It is compressed between the interflow of spirit, and this is the formative process. Our individuality is compressed between the interflow of spirit, and it may be that the ascending light, which is the evolutionary impulse, the reaching upwards towards the greater light, we may call the power of the Holy Spirit, which lifts us up, causes us to reach beyond, to grow beyond, to know beyond. And the descending light we may call, if we wish, Atman, or the Christ power. And the individuality of man, the surface of which we call ego, is compressed by the cosmic forces which are condensed, contained, reflected within this. The cosmos is in us, just as truly as we are in the cosmos. O man, know thyself. It is possibly helpful to explore in this way that all life is from the primal spirit. There is the going out from the primal spirit. There is the great circle of life, and the going out becomes the return. Devolution, involution precedes evolution. And evolution is the return to the source, the response of every atom of nature to the divine command, come unto me. And the spark that is ourselves, having gone forth, having reached beyond into relative darkness, the dense vibration rate that is beyond the source of the light, returns through that density, gradually, tortuous, striving little by little to find the source from which it came. And the returning constitutes an organic formation. And in that returning, life takes many, many forms. Through pre-ego, the forms of life less complex than man, to man himself, and egocentricity is the necessary hardening, the necessary accretion of separateness that enables the light to spiral upwards to its source. The thrust upwards out of matter is intensified and necessitated by the development of ego. And this ego is the result of the spirit within matter striving upwards for release, the liberating impulse of the Holy Spirit, and is the result of the stimulus brought into nature by the great cosmic radiance. And as experience accumulates around ego, so our elemental nature grows, and beyond that our ego nature grows. And so our higher being grows, our buddhi, our Buddha body grows. And as experience works upon the individuality, first egocentricity expands, but there comes a point when we find it is counterproductive. We have become, as it were, top-heavy, lopsided, distorted, and our further progress consists of the elimination of all outworn experience, of all outworn recollections, impulses, accretions from the dead past, brought with us in our journey through primal matter. All life, all organic life, is dependent upon the healthy balance between accumulation and elimination. And there comes a time in humanity when the shift must be drastically to elimination. And this is the concern of yoga, not to accumulate, not to learn something, but to decondition. The core of yoga is the process of deconditioning, of opening out, of shedding the extraneous, the outworn, the irrelevant, the dead past, the lumber of the soul. And as experience, through the confluence of nature, acts upon our individuality, both by accumulation and by elimination, the food of experience causes the Buddha being who comes from near the sun, the Buddha being to slowly grow. And as the Buddha being slowly grows, so the Buddha being slowly descends into the organism that nature is nurturing for its descent, to make possible a place for its habitation. As the Buddha being grows through experience, as ego diminishes through experience, right experience, sadhana, so little by little, the weight of the growing Buddha being descends into the individuality, integration, wholeness, the emerging of the true man, the discovery of what is happening in this which is a part of the cosmic process. And I suspect that one reason why we cannot begin to face the problem of our egocentricity is because there is something within us which discerns the tremendous awfulness of a truth we cannot even begin to contemplate. That the sun being is seeking to claim its right of entry into this, is seeking to claim its right of entry into the earth, into a new earth. This is why there is disturbance in our world, because the spirit within is seeking to reach the sun, and the sun spirit is striving to reach the earth, and the earth is quaking because of this striving of nature to bring forth a new birth in man and through man a new earth. Yoga is a process of deconditioning. It is the process by which we eliminate or begin to assist the acceleration of the elimination of the extraneous in ourselves. Taking the Taoist alchemical image, when the dragon of the earth meets the tiger of the heart, when the ascending flow and the descending flow unite at their optimum point of fusion There is moksha, liberation, transformation. To press further this alchemical image, the purpose of the alchemist was to so refine the baser substance, lead, the earth, that it becomes fluid, and to coagulate spirit, that is gold, so that it becomes fluid, and in that fluidity to bring about a fusion which will transform the baser into the higher, which will transform lead into gold, which will transform matter into spirit. And that takes place in the alchemical crucible, which is man himself. The earth being and the sun being are here, compressed between their interaction is the individuality that grows because of their interaction. And our problem at our time is how to adjust, if that is the right word, our petty little egos, so that the right and the true flow of energies awakens in us, if we can, through yoga. Gain some perception of our contribution to that momentum, then in some degree this crucible becomes the Holy Grail. Our quest is the quest of the Holy Grail. O man, know thyself. But our meditational quest should not be, surely, a mere intellectual exploration, a game we play with ourselves to pass the time away. It should not be merely informational. It should not be either a passive retiring from stress into some soft, soporific state. But the right balance of stimulation and relaxation, the right balance of effort and non-effort, which paradoxically becomes effortless effort. That is surely our concern to discover. How to unblock the stoppage in the energy flow, the prime block being egocentricity, so that energy can flow, and does flow, and will flow. And then it is not a matter, perhaps, of us discovering life, but of life discovering us. Not a matter of our finding truth, but of truth finding us, because truth is searching for us. And truth will not let us go until we have yielded to its needs. And then maybe it is not a matter of how can I love, or how can I help, or how can I heal, or how can I do this or do that. Maybe if we learn really to listen to our inner movement, we will come upon the very root of the upside downness of it all. We cannot find love, love finds us. We cannot find wisdom, wisdom finds us. We cannot find healing, healing finds us. We cannot find truth, truth finds us. And these things are not separate, they are one. They are different only in words of our inventing. Then the question arises, not can I help, not can I heal, not can I offer wisdom, but in spite of ourselves, in spite of ourselves, if the seed has been sown, and it has, life will act in us with a new voice, and a new force, and a new beauty. And in all the turmoil to come, in the latter part of this century, in all the turmoil to come, life will have found in us a vessel that is fit to offer some slight service to the purposes of the greater life. And this is what our yoga is all about. This is what we are all about. This is what life is all about. And in some degree, perhaps, this is why we are concerned with the problem of the little ego. It is part of the process, part of a whole, part of an unfolding. And if it comes down to the hows and the whys and the wherefores, maybe this is why our particular view of yoga has emerged. And maybe also this is why I prefer not so much to spell it out, but invite you to join us in the doing of it. And what I've tried to say is not so much an explanation, but I would hope if we've really been listening to each other, really been discovering each other, not only in the words but in the spaces between the words, that we will have found something of the impulse, not the explanation or the rationalization, but the impulse which gives rise to our particular view. Thank you, friends.